Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah waliyu salihin. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, this is Gabriel Al Romanni, and we are back studying the ways to respond to missionaries, to respond to the people who are attacking Islam. Islam is under fire. Islam is being attacked from left, right, center. People are trying to confuse the Muslim Ummah to sow the seeds of doubt and exit Islam, to make them be paralyzed so that they don't move, so that they don't do anything. When you have weakness of faith, brothers and sisters, you don't move, you don't work for Islam. Look at our Ummah. How many people are doing something for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How many people are sacrificing for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How many do you know that have dedicated their lives towards the deen? And how many do you know that they're attacking Islam? Look at the social media. Look at all the social platforms, media platforms. What's happening? Okay, where are the defenders of Islam? Where are those who defend the honor of the Prophet ﷺ? Where are those who are going to stand up and say, you're wrong, you're lying, you are being intellectually dishonest? We're just waiting for the same people. We're living in the past. What are we going to do? We're going to tell Ahmadi that to wake up from his grave, Allah yarham, a'udhu billah. Just like we told Salahuddin to wake up from his grave, Allah yarham. Brothers, you need to take things into your hands. You need to take matters into your hands. Sisters, educate yourself. Know, work for the deen. Refute these people. Learn from the scholars. Build your aqidah, build your iman, build your basics of Islam. And subhanAllah, as we said before, we're teaching this, but this is not the full response. The best way, the best medicine is to know your deen, to know the tawheed. Once your aqidah is strong, they can say things even if you don't know. You're able to stop them. They'll tell you things, can God do this, and why didn't he have a son? You say, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. Qul huwa Allahu ahad. Simple. You don't get confused because you know the truth. You know that Allah is one. And they can say things that you don't understand, even if they quote from some of your books, from hadith and so on. You are firm on your ground. In the previous episode, we discussed again some of these so-called contradictions, okay? And we showed how these contradictions have no basis. Brothers and sisters, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. You have to have, brothers and sisters, it's a guidance. You have to have firm belief in this book, that there is no doubt in it. There's no doubt about it. Not just in it, there's no doubt about it. هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. It is a guidance for those who are righteous. It also misguides people who are not righteous, who are fasiqeen. Am I making this up? يُضِلُّ بِهِ كَثِيرًا وَيَهْدِ بِهِ كَثِيرًا وَمَا يُضِلُّ بِهِ إِلَّا الْفَاسِقِينَ. When these people are asking about the mithal, what does Allah? ماذا أراد الله بهذا مثلا? What does Allah want by this mithal, by this example that's mentioned in the Qur'an? يضل به كثيرا ويهدي به كثيرا. He misguides many by it and guides many by it. وما يضل به إلا الفاسقين. So people of sin, people who follow their desires, people have left prayer, people have left the rulings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then they wonder why we're being misguided. So you see, brothers and sisters, it's not a joke. Don't ask why you have faith in Iman and faith in this book if you don't read this book. Don't ask why you have weak faith in Allah, you're losing your faith, if the last time you spoke to Allah was I don't know or you don't know where. You need to renew this relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so you don't get confused. As we said in previous episodes, if you have the light, this life that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, Islam, then you will see, this light will help you see through these lies and through these misconceptions. But if that light is very dim or none, then these things will seem very beautiful to you, truthful, they'll make sense, and you'll get confused. And yet we're showing how ridiculous they are. We're showing actually that they're not even arguments that someone has to really think over, and oh, okay, maybe this is difficult to understand. They're things that are taken out of context, mistranslated, misunderstood, just like this one. Let us take another example. One of the topics that I remember speaking to one of the so-called missionaries, Tabiti, Pastor Tabiti. And he used to be a Muslim. He converted to Islam and then left Islam after. And I asked him why. He said this is the verse that confused him. Someone showed him that and he got confused. He said, no, this is a contradiction. Subhanallah. So I decided to write a piece on this, a paper, a research paper called What is the Abad of the People of the Book? Yani, where do they go when they die? Because a lot of people seem to be confused sometimes over this. And the Qur'an is very clear. Very clear. Now, I'm not saying this guy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the judge. We're saying that in general. We're saying what happens if someone dies as a kafir. So they say there's a contradiction. They say, will Jews and Christians go to hell? It says yes and no, some will not. Okay, this is how they've split the verses. And the fast response is that very simple. It is up to Allah who goes where. Very simple. But if you want to understand what the ayat are saying, then this is a different story. Okay? So it's up to Allah who goes where. But in general, if a person disbelieves in Islam, he dies upon Christianity or Judaism or whatever else religion, this is his direction. Jahannam. We don't sugarcoat things, we don't play around, this is just the way it is. Now Bob, Steve, Sylvia, whatever. This is, I can't go to Bob and say, you're going to hell. If you don't embrace Islam, if you die as a Christian, if you believe in that, that's a different story, yes. But you don't know towards the end of his life. This is not the attitude of the Muslims. This is not the attitude that should be taken. But is it wrong to say that as a Christian, this person, and I want to save you, you're in danger of going to hellfire? No, it's correct. The Prophet ﷺ warned the people with hellfire. Allah warns the people in the Qur'an with hellfire. The Prophet ﷺ talked about some of his relatives, warned them with hellfire, and told them they'll be in hell. Of course, he's the Prophet, he receives revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in the end of the day, it stands. If you go to someone that, look, brother, my friend, you are in danger of hell. If you don't believe, if you die on this faith that you have right now, you're in danger of hell. Now, I'm not going to judge you. I'm not the judge. Allah is the judge. It's very clear. But this is the default. This is what our deen teaches. This is what Allah teaches us. So let us look at the verses again. I'm going to repeat again. What are the ways we look at it? First of all, is it translated properly? Is it taken out of context and all that? Surah 3, verse 85. Who seeks a religion other than Islam, it will not be accepted from him, and he will be a loser in the hereafter. True. Here it is, who seeks a religion other than Islam. Someone who denies Islam, someone who goes into a different religion. Okay? The next verse says, Surah 2, verse 62, those who are Jews and the Christians and the Sabians, whoever believed in Allah and the last day, and doth right, surely their reward will be with their Lord. And there shall have no fear come upon them, neither shall they grieve. And we know the ayat. So they're saying, here you're saying that it's only Islam will be accepted. Here you're saying Christians and Jews and Sabians, they shall have no fear, nor shall they grieve. Let us analyze this, because this is what's called almost like a red herring. It's trying to take you away from the main argument. It should say, if there will be a contradiction, Christians are going to hell. Christians are not going to hell. That will be a contradiction. Here it says, if someone seeks a religion other than Islam, it will not be accepted from him, and there will be a loser in hereafter. If you want to go into heaven without the key, the correct key, the door is not going to be open for you. If you have all the keys and you're looking at them, and you're comparing, and you're not seeing that what is the truth, well, you took the wrong key. So willingly you are taking something different, you're denying, that is your direction. In the second verse, Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 62, this talks about very clearly, okay, about different groups. Very good point though. But look what it says. Man amana billahi wal yawm al-akhir. Do the Christians and the Jews believe in Allah? It's very clear. Okay? And I wrote an extensive paper about this. I don't want to go into details. But the clear and the fast refutation is Allah is saying who? He's talking about these people from the Jews and the Christians. He's separating the categories. From them who will become Muslim and believe in Allah and the last day, and they will do righteous deeds. Don't forget, believing in Allah and the last day, here you're talking about the 5 pillars of Islam, because if you believe in Allah, then you know, this is Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, Shahadatain, the prayer, and all that. And if you believe in the last day, of course, the articles of faith. This is something very important. So these people, Jews, Christians, Sabians, they're the ones who believe in Allah, become Muslim, who remove that ignorance from them and they become Muslim. I'm going to take a short break, inshallah. We'll be right back explaining this, giving more information, Bismillah, Defense Against Disaster, Gabriel Al Romanni.
Presents over 100 million viewers at one of the largest peace conferences in the world, addressing a sea of spellbound spectators. Over 30 world-renowned orators on Islam with credentials impeccable.
The truth of Islam.
Deen is your way of life.
It is our duty, our obligation.
By following the Qur'an and Sunnah,
we will give the message to one and all.
With articulation exquisite.
Read the book of Allah.
Islam is the easy way. It's the simple way.
Remind each other.
The Muslim is not a source of harm for other people.
Collaborate with the people for good.
This is the call of Islam.
With the mission of spreading the truth of Islam.
Do what you can to spread the word of Islam.
Wherever we are, live like Muslims.
Use your power.
Allah is saying, why do you need anything else? This Qur'an is self-sufficient.
The only book on the face of the globe, the Qur'an.
How a human being should lead his life is given in this instruction manual, the glorious Qur'an.
For peace to prevail on earth in Peacemakers. Next on Peace TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. Defense Against Disaster. We're talking about the contradiction of what's the abad of the people of the book, using Christians and others. They saying there's a contradiction, that it says they go to hell, and then it says no, they'll be saved. And we explain it, okay? The first one talks about if people seek a way, a path other than Islam, it will not be accepted from them. And in the other one, it talks about the Jews and the Christians, the Sabians, and anything else who believe in Allah and the last day. It says very clear, whoever believes in Allah and the last day and does right deeds. Very simple. The 5 pillars of Islam and the 6 articles of faith. Okay? Allah talks about believe in Allah. This is the Shahada, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. And of course, in the last day, which is one of the articles of faith, and of course, all of them go with it. But just a simple question. Do Christians believe in Allah? No, they don't. Okay? They believe in the Trinity. Even though they refer, for example, they say, no, but the Christian Arabs refer to Allah as Allah in Arabic. But they means something totally different. As you know, the Trinity. No Christian will ever say that he believes in Allah of the Qur'an, of what the Qur'an says. Bring me one who says, I believe in Allah of the Qur'an. No, he won't. Very simple. And to quote, I just want to add one more verse, chapter 5, verse 72, to show that again, those people, where they're going. لَقَدْ كَفَرَ الَّذِينَ Surely disbelieve those who say, Lo, Allah is Messiah, son of Mary. لَقَدْ كَفَرَ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الْمَسِيحُ ابْنُ مَرْيَمَ. Indeed, they have disbelieved, refuting and showing what is the direction. Okay? Now I want to refute another argument here. Because people say, but that's not fair. How about those who never heard about Islam? Are they going to be punished? Where are they going? And again, we say this is up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of the scholars was asked about it. What about the people there who never heard about Islam? This and that? The scholar, very smart, he responded and said, you will be questioned about them. Why didn't you go and tell them about Islam? And that's exactly what we need to ask ourselves. This is the correct question. You don't know what's going to happen on their judgment. You're not, subhanAllah, and he worry about now. Worry about what you have done to reach these people. But again, going back, a question so we don't evade the topic, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is the most fair. He says there will be no injustice done on the day of judgment. Someone didn't hear the message, didn't know the message. Allah knows what's in their heart. Allah knows what happened, why someone was not Muslim and so on. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who knows. Allah will call them on the day of judgment to stand in front of Him. He's the one who will decide who goes to heaven, who goes to hell. So we leave that up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's no contradiction whatsoever, brothers and sisters. This is the book. There is no doubt. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ. Al-ayah, Surah Baqarah. We need to always understand from that perspective, to have that faith. Let us take another example, and that is the example of, will Allah forgive anything? That's how they make the question. And that is the accusation that Allah says in the Qur'an that Allah does not forget shirk. Okay? The ayah says that Allah forgives sins, but He does not forgive shirk. And the other ayah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ جَمِيعًا. Yeah, Allah forgives all the sin. So again, the people say, there's a contradiction. Does Allah forgive all sins, or does He not forgive sin? This again is a taken out of context, very simple, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when is He talking about? He's talking about shirk, if a person dies on shirk. Very simple. Of course, Allah will not forgive someone who dies on shirk. But does Allah forgive shirk? Of course. I'm a perfect example of that, because I used to be a Christian. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgave me. I became Muslim. Alhamdulillah, guided me. Of course. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when does it matter? The day when you die. So Allah will not forgive you. So one context talks about what? When it matters, on the day of judgment, of course. You come to Allah with shirk, Allah will never forgive it. But the beautiful ayah says, قُلْ يَا عِبَادِي الَّذِينَ أَسْرَفُوا عَلَى أَنفُسِهِمْ لَا تَقْنَطُوا مِنْ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ جَمِيعًا إِنَّهُ الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ. Oh, my servants. Allah's not talking about kafir. He's talking about my servants. قُلْ يَا عِبَادِي الَّذِينَ أَسْرَفُوا عَلَى أَنفُسِهِمْ. Oh, my servants. So two different things again. Who have committed injustices, sins against themselves. لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله. Do not lose hope in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because Allah forgives all sins. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ جَمِيعًا. Allah forgives all sins. If you make a sin, if you have done a problem, if you've done any issue, be it anything, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can forgive you. Okay? Two different things. One is shirk, dying on shirk. Allah will never forgive you. Not repenting from shirk. You think if you say, oh Allah, I'm sorry, but you're a shirk, you're a mushrik, Allah, no. Allah is making it very clear. And then Allah is addressing, قُلْ يَا عِبَادِي, my servants. Different thing again. Allah is addressing His servants. Those who have committed sins against themselves. Don't despair of the mercy of Allah the Almighty, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah forgives all the sins. Look at the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And just to highlight this here, brothers and sisters, highlighting the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahu Akbar. And you know, I love this one thing that I want to mention as we finish. I want to highlight that, Wallah al-Azim, and I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this, that when you study these things and when you see these things, yani, if you believe, you have strong faith, and inshallah yani, you protect yourself, Allah will show you gems and pearls. Actually, I remember when I used to be attacked by these things, and of course there was issues, and you know, it was tight, it was not easy, it was doubt sometimes. But subhanallah, when Allah would make the answer evident, actually your faith grows higher. Your faith becomes stronger because you realize, you're like, wow, look what these people are trying to do. This is silly. And look what Allah is saying. Yani, subhanallah, they're trying to take you away. يُرِيدُونَ لِيُطْفِئُوا نُورَ اللَّهِ بِأَفْوَاهِهِمْ. They want, yuriduna, they really want to put out the light of Allah subhanahu by their mouths. They'll say, oh, this is contradiction, that is contradiction. Look at this verse, look at that verse. Talking always, writing, talking, spreading. Wallahu yutimmu nuri. Allah will perfect His light. See, they try to put it out. May Allah protect us. Ya muqallib al-qulub, thabbit qalbi ala dinik. But when you read sometimes these things, you realize Allah's light is perfected even more. But we always need to ask for guidance, brothers. We always need to ask for guidance, brothers and sisters. You have to be on guard. You can't just like, whatever. Life is just, you know, let me be a leaf that's blown by the wind. And do something. Learn. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open for you the path. من سلك طريقا يلتمس فيه علما سهل الله له طريقا إلى الجنة أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Whoever seeks or treads the path of knowledge, they seek knowledge in this path, Allah will make for him a path to Jannah. Allah will make this path for them easy. So brothers and sisters, just to recap in this episode, okay, we looked at the so-called contradictions. We're going to continue inshallah with more contradictions just to explain and expose this. I want to refer you back inshallah to our website icraa.org, where you'll find more in-depth articles discussing these issues, giving you a general frame of mind of how to answer these questions, even if we might not know all the answers. Make sure you go back to the Qur'an. Make sure you go back to the basics. If they ever try to confuse you, make sure you analyze, see was it cut out of context and so on. Make sure you go back to the basics of Aqidah, to go back to the recitation of the Qur'an, to protect yourself. If you are involved in da'wah, make sure you learn, you understand, going back to a curriculum. And if you don't know, remember again, the key here is to ask those who know. Okay, don't get involved in something that you can't handle. It's the best advice I can give you. Okay? Don't get involved in something you're going to handle. But if you have learned, have mastered these things, have taken under your belt, don't be scared to engage. Don't be scared to defend Islam. Don't be scared to defend the honor of the Prophet ﷺ, his sunnah, the book of Allah. Don't be scared to show people. Sometimes, subhanAllah, I need to make an example of those who are accusing Islam, as Imam Abu Hanifa used to make of some of his so-called debaters, of some of the Imams who used to debate, Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, and so on, who used to show the people the strength and superiority of this beautiful deen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us on the straight path. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep our hearts steady on the deen. May Allah the Almighty, as we say always, protect us from doubts and from, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to die on Islam. As Allah tells in the Qur'an, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, taqullaha haqqa tuqatihi wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. Or you believe, fear Allah as you should be feared, and do not die except in the state of Islam. And I hope that this is, inshallah, what will happen to you and I. Jazakumullah khair. We will see you on another episode. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.